Hello everyone, welcome to a new free session with teacher Shuru Ismail for SET, EST, ACT American Diploma students. If you haven't subscribed to my Telegram channel, please subscribe to SET, ACT, EST American Diploma and follow me on Facebook page English in Brief so you can find any new uploaded sessions for you. It will help you a lot in your American Diploma study. Our topic for today is subject-verb agreement. Let's see what we're gonna take today. What it means. If we talk about subject-verb agreements, so we need to focus on our subject and verb relationship here. So here, my mother, it is the subject of my sentence. My mother is the subject. And the verb is works. Let's study them or have a look at them. If we think about it, my mother is a singular subject and works actually is a singular verb. Let's have a look at the singular subject. The singular subject in English, okay, or the singular noun, actually we mean by this a singular noun. It is a noun, okay, it's a noun, a singular noun that okay, like boy, like girl, like all of this. And the singular verb, okay, usually like this one, works, okay, works. So let's have a look at it. You're gonna find that it ends with letter S. So as it's in the present simple tense, because it is in the present simple tense. So here the verb is singular. How can I tell? Because the verb ends with S in English. But here the noun is singular because it doesn't take an S. Actually, you want to mention the rule in detail right away. Let's study more examples. The girl dances. The girl dances. Here, let's have a look here. You'll find that the girl, again, here is a subject. And what about the subject? Let's have a look at it. It is a singular subject. It is a singular subject. Let's have a look at its verb. Dances. Dances is the verb, and actually it is again here a singular verb, and a singular verb like this because it's present simple, it takes an S. Okay, let's have another example. The girls. Now here we changed the subject, our subject from the singular case into the plural case. So our subject here is a plural noun. Let's have a look at our verb here. My verb here is again in the plural. Okay, so I have a plural verb. So let's have a look. In order to change the subject from singular into plural, we added an S. But in order to change a verb from the singular case into the plural case, we eliminated the S, or we dropped it away. Okay, so this is how we change it from singular into plural. Okay, let's have more examples and more explanation. Plurals in English. If I talk about the plural in English, if I have a noun, okay, here in English, and it is actually a singular noun, so it will take a singular verb, okay? And my noun, if it is plural noun, so my verb will be plural too. A singular verb takes an S. A singular noun doesn't take anything. A plural noun takes an S. A plural verb doesn't take anything. It's actually really easy, but you need to practice more. So the rule is every verb must agree. Every verb must agree in what? Number. So if the noun is singular or the subject is singular, so the verb has to be singular. If the noun is plural, the verb too has to be plural. There have to be an agreement, or there has to be an agreement. About if the verb is singular and the noun is plural, there will be in such case a disagreement between the subject and the verb. And actually, this is the point that many questions are tackling in the SET. Okay, like, so he gives you an example of a sentence, for example, you'll find that the subject and the verb disagree together. The subject, for example, is plural and the verb is singular, or vice versa. The subject is singular and the verb is plural. And you are asked to identify the error while taking your SET. But is it that simple? Do you think it is that simple to be that I just managed to find out the disagreement or like so? No, it's not that easy. It wouldn't be worthy to have a test for such a question if it's so easy like this. What makes it easy in the previous examples is that the subject, as we mentioned here, is close to its verb. Like the girl dances, the girl here is a subject, and its verb is close to it. Nothing separates them from each other. So the subject and the verb are following each other. So nothing here separates them. That's why it's so easy to notice the disagreement. But if we have the question in the test, do you think that it will be that easy? Definitely no, it will not be that easy. It has to be difficult, a bit difficult. How to be a bit difficult? So you'll find that the test makers will put you as something like a phrase or something like a clause in the middle just to separate your subject from your verb. So we'll make a kind of a distance, okay, or a kind of a separation between your between your subject and your verb. Why do you think so? So you get confused about which one is the subject and whether it agrees or no with its verb. That's how they try to trick you. But by practice will understand the tricks that you can find about this lesson. Here, let's have a look at the example we have here right in front of our eyes. A collection of short stories. In order to identify my subject, I need to ask myself, okay, a question. What is the question I need to ask myself? What or who am I talking about here? I'm talking here about a collection, okay, a collection, okay, of stories. So I'm talking about a collection here. Many of them written by the authors in 19th century England, including Jane Austen and C.S. Lewis, contain. So here I'm talking about this collection. What does it do? It contains. Let's have a look at these two slashes that I have here. They actually here give me a kind of a long, like something like a phrase here. So many of them written by authors in 19 blah blah blah, including so and so all of this. So all of this makes a kind of a separation or taking away my subject from my verb. So you get confused. When you think about it, you get confused. Here, let's have a look here. I'll find that this is my verb. It comes right after this phrase that came in the middle. Hunting. What do you think here? Is the after I identified my subject, I need to ask myself a question. Is my noun here collection? Is it singular or plural? Is it singular or plural? Actually, it is singular and it is evident and easy to notice. Let's have a look at my verb. Contain. Okay, contain. Is it plural or singular? Actually, the verb here, contain, is plural. So, is there an agreement? No, we don't have an agreement. Here, they disagree together. They don't match each other. So what do I need to do here? I need to correct my verb. How can I correct it? I add letter S so it becomes singular. Okay, so here that's an example. So my first step here to notice, first, number one, I need to identify my subject. What do I need to do? I need to identify my subject first. How can I identify my subject? By asking myself who or what I'm talking about. Am I talking about? By asking myself this question, now I start to identify my subject. Step two, I need to figure out my verb, okay, and think about them whether they agree, subject and the verb I mean, or disagree in number, whether both of them are singular or one is singular and the other one is plural. So like that, if there is a disagreement, I need to check or to correct or fix my verb, and the sentence will be correct in such a case. So my strategy or technique to underline my subject. First thing I need to do is to underline my subject. That's number one. And it's verb, of course. When I underline, I start to draw an arrow to connect them together. And I determine whether they agree or they disagree together. Okay, in singularity, whether they are singular and or plural. And then I start to uh, make an agreement. Then I need to cross out any prepositional phrases. It's not only prepositional phrases. Today we're going to talk about a lot of separators that come between the subject and the verb. Identifying the subject. Let's have a look at this example. After visiting the physics laboratory with their class, all of this at the beginning, let's have a look here. After preposition, visiting, so all of this is a phrase. So this is a prepositional phrase. Okay. The first thing when I see a prepositional phrase is to cross it out. So my first thing is to cross it out. Let's continue reading. Michael and Lakisha. So here I have and, two proper nouns and, so it means it is a plural. Okay, plural up until now, it seems to be plural, okay, subject. Okay, we're inspired. Okay, we're is a verb to become. Let's stop at this What does it show you here? Is for singular. Let's read what's after. Scientific researcher. So, actually, he's talking about Michael and Lakisha. How come you talk about two people as a scientific researcher, only one, a singular person? This does not follow. Here I have a disagreement. So this one doesn't follow my subject. What do I need to do? I need to make this plural. How can I do it? I cross out, of course, letter A and add here as scientific researchers when they grew up. So let's have here, so this example is wrong. Let's have a look at this example. After visiting the physics laboratory with their class, that I identified it as a prepositional phrase. Actually, I don't need it at all, so I need to cross it out. Michael and Lakisha were, the verb is okay, working with the subject, were to become scientific researchers. You see, there is an S here. What does it do? It serves my subject, so this follows my subject in it being plural. Okay, let's have another example. Mozart, along with Haydn and Beethoven, were members of the first Viennese school of classical music. Mozart, okay, along with Haydn and Beethoven, along is a preposition. Along with is a preposition, hidden and beethoven. This is a kind of a prepositional phrase. So this is a prepositional phrase. Do I need it? Actually, no, I don't need it at all. So I just cross it out. Don't need it. Here, where. Okay, where. That's my verb. It came after the commas. Look, have a look at the agreement. Do they agree or disagree together? They actually disagree because Mozart is actually singular noun, and where is a plural verb, so they don't match each other. What do I need here? I need to fix my verb so it becomes like in this example, Mozart along with Haydn and Beethoven was. So here that's my subject, and was is its verb. The subject is singular, and the verb matches it in its singularity, and it is singular too. Very nice. Let's talk about separators. What are separators here? We do have a lot of separators I can find in a sentence or in a question. The first one is the non-essential clauses. Actually, if you need a detailed information, you can just watch my previous session. You'll find a detailed explanation for non-essential clauses. What types of the non-essential clauses? There are actually two. We have the first one, relative clauses, which means a clause with, okay, who, which, that, who, which, where, whose, and when. Whose and when. All of these are relative clauses. And the appositive is a kind of a phrase that starts with with a noun. Kind of a phrase that starts with a noun, and you have here it's a noun phrase, say, or a phrase that comes in the middle. That is the first separator you can find. Also, you can find essential clauses as separators. And the essential clauses are some separators that start with that. And these are not actually separated by commas. In the relative clauses, they were separated by commas, a comma before and a comma after. Okay? But here in the but here in the that clause or the essential clause, there are no commas before or after because it's essential. Why is it essential? Because the sentence cannot stand on its own if you delete it or if you drop it. Okay? Okay, like when I say the boy that is in the picture is my cousin. So let's have a look here at this example. The boy that. If I just eliminate that is in the picture, this will not be clear. Which boy are you talking about? There will be ambiguity or it's gonna be vague. But if you have it here, that is in the picture, it gives you a definition for which boy are you talking about, is my cousin. So here you notice that there are no commas before or after the essential clause. It comes actually without any commas before and after. Another separator we have here is a prepositional phrase. What is a prepositional phrase? It means a kind of a phrase that starts with a preposition. A kind of a phrase that starts with a preposition. It comes in the middle, and this is actually separated by commas. Okay, so the prepositional phrase is separated by commas. You can actually, we're gonna say how to answer a question with them. There is and there are. Okay, and we're gonna talk about their structure. If I say, for example, there is a cup, there is a cup Okay, there is a cup. Here, in this example, where is my subject? My subject here, the cup. It comes after the verb, not before. It comes after my verb, like here. But if I say there are 3 cups, there are 3 cups here. Again, my subject is 3 cups, and it comes after its verb. So the agreement in there is and there are depends on the noun that comes after the verb. So in this example, there is and there are. My agreement, okay, my agreement depends on the noun after the verb. Okay, the noun after the verb. Very well. Okay, let's go to more examples. Here, when we talk about non-essential clauses, like when we talk about relative clauses, what about them? They are surrounded by commas. They are surrounded by commas. That's what we said. You have a comma before and a comma after them. Okay, so in non-essential clause, you find it separated from its sentence by commas. Well, that's what makes it easy. You can identify it easily because it is separated by commas. And the most important thing is that if they are removed from a sentence, if they are removed, if they are taken away, if we drop them, the sentence will still make perfect grammatical sense. So it's gonna be correct. It's not gonna be wrong. Moreover, here we can use WH words like when, who, which, whose, where, okay, to refer to my noun in the sentence. Okay, and let's have a look at this example. Moroccan green tea, which is prepared with a healthy dose of sugar and mint leaf, is. What is my subject? What am I talking about here? Actually, Moroccan is an adjective, so it's not a noun, so it cannot be a subject. Green again is an adjective, and tea is a noun. So my subject here is tea. Is it singular or plural? It is actually singular because it is an uncountable noun. It is an uncountable noun. That's why it's singular. And let's have a look at my verb. Here first, while reading, I found a comma and a WH phrase like this. So it is a relative clause. I'll just walk until I find the other comma. Now I found the other comma. So this just signs or shows me the end of this relative clause. So my step here or my strategy here or the thing I'm gonna do is to cross out this one. So I'm going to cross out this non-essential clause. I'm going to cross it out like this. Why should I do this? To find my verb. Where can I find my verb? My verb will be immediately after the comma. My verb is immediately after the comma, like this. Is. Let's have a look at my subject. My subject is uncountable noun, which means it's singular. We deal with it as a singular noun. And my verb here is actually singular. So here both of them are singular. So they agree together or they match each other, which means it is a correct sentence. Okay, so my steps here. First, identify my subject. Okay, then cross out. If you find a non-essential clause, cross it out. You don't need it. And find your verb and think about the agreement. Is there an agreement or no? If there is no agreement, fix your verb. Okay, let's move to essential clauses that we mentioned before that they start with that. Okay, as that clause. They start with a that clause. Okay, you can just sign it or signal it by the word that. You'll not find commas before or after. There is no commas because it's essential. It is essential, so it is necessary for the sentence to stand and give me a correct meaning. You will see the subject, verb, agreement questions based on essential clauses beginning with that. Such clauses are not set off by commas. You'll not find commas. Okay, but the verbs they contain must still agree with the subject. That clause itself has a verb inside it. It has to agree with the subject too. Yes, I do have the main verb of my sentence right after the that clause. But still, we have two verbs here. One verb in that clause and one verb after it. Both of them have to agree with my subject. Okay? They follow my subject. Let's have a look at this example. Green tea. Okay. Again, green tea is a subject. And actually, tea is an uncountable noun, which means it is a singular noun. Is a beverage that they have. Here I need to stop because I said that the verb in that clause have to follow my subject. My subject is actually singular. So my verb too needs to be singular. So have cannot serve. I need a singular one, so I need. So this sentence is wrong. Okay, let's have another sentence here. Green tea is a beverage that has. This one is correct. Why? Because the verb is singular and it follows my subject in its singularity. Okay? Okay. Now let's move to subject prepositional phrase. The prepositional phrases as a kind of a separator. Here, so up until now, we talked about essential clauses. We talked about essential clauses as separators. We talked about non-essential clauses. Now we are talking about prepositional phrases. Now we're talking about prepositional phrase. From its name here, we say phrase and preposition. Yeah, you find a preposition and then it's followed by a phrase. Like here in the box under the table, over the hill. All of these are prepositional phrases. They are inserted between my subject and the verb. Okay, they are inserted between the subject and the verb in order to distract the reader. Have a look at this example. Changes. Changes. That is my subject. And actually, it is a plural subject. Okay, let's come to in the balance of trade. What is this? Is a prepositional phrase. Whenever I figure it out, I just need to cross it out like this. I don't need it. Like, where is my verb? It comes right after the prepositional phrase. Seen. Here the subject is plural and my verb here is singular. So they disagree together. What do I need to fix it? I need to fix my verb so it becomes singular. I cross out the S and make it plural like this, so my verb becomes plural. In such case, they follow each other in being plural, like this. Okay, let's have a look at the structure of this sentence. This sentence here is structured as follows. The sentence started with my subject. And after the subject, I found the prepositional phrase in the middle. The prepositional phrase, mind you. Sometimes separated by commas, sometimes no. After the prepositional phrase, I find my verb. Okay, I find my verb. So the sentence goes as follows. Subject, prepositional phrase, verb. This is how the sentence is built. Okay, okay. So like this is the first form of the prepositional phrase. As a separator, it comes between the subject and the verb. Actually, this is the most common. You can find a lot of examples of a prepositional phrase that stands between the subject and its verb to make the separation or to take your subject and your verb away from each other to distract you and trick you so you cannot figure out what the mistake or the error is. Is there another structure? Yes, sure, we do have another structure here. What is it? Let's have a look here. We're gonna start with the prepositional phrase first. So we're gonna start with the prepositional phrase first, and after it you have your verb, and after it you have your subject. You see the structure here is somehow strange. It's not the normal structure that we are used to. So how does it work here? Let's have an example. Along the Loop Canal in Nebraska. What is it? I have along here a preposition and I have a phrase, so it is a prepositional phrase here at the beginning. It came at the beginning of my sentence. Extends is my verb, then the verb. So this structure will be as follows. My subject will come in the end of my sentence. Like here after the verb, not before. So parks, lakes, and trails. This is actually the subject. So my subject here is parks, comma, lakes, and trails. Okay, and trails. This is my subject. Is it singular or is it plural? Actually, it is a plural subject. So its verb comes before it. Its verb comes before it. Like here, extends. What about it as a kind of verb? It is actually here, it's singular. Extends. So can it work? No, it cannot work because extends here is singular. That's singular. And my subject is plural. There is a kind of a disagreement. They cannot work together. What can I do? I need to fix my verb. How can I fix it? I drop the S like this. So it will be along the Loop Canal in Nebraska, extend. Why do I have the verb here without S? Because its subject is after, not before. What comes before is a prepositional phrase. What comes after the verb is its subject. Parks, lakes, and trails. This is the subject preceded by its verb, and it is in the plural form. So actually, this one is correct, but this one was wrong. Okay, let's move on. Here, you'll find sometimes that the subject is not a simple subject, it is a compound subject. Sometimes my subject is compound subject. What's the compound subject? It is a noun plus and plus a noun. So this is called compound subject. This is called compound subject. So a compound subject here is actually dealt with as being plural. So this one is plural, not singular. So it needs a plural verb. It needs a plural verb. So here, let's have a look at this sentence. The book and the pen. What about them? Do we consider them as singular or plural? Actually, they are plural because it is a compound subject, two nouns together connected by and, compound subject, and actually it is dealt with as plural, and its verb here I found the verb sits, which is singular. Oh, there is a problem here. What's the problem is that I cannot have a singular verb with a compound subject because it's plural. There is a disagreement here. There is a disagreement. How can I fix it? How can I fix it? Okay, I need to make it drop the. Okay, here on the table sits just another structure. You'll find on the table, this is a prepositional phrase. Sits, that's the verb, and it's singular. The book and the pen, which is a compound subject, so it's a plural subject here. Compound subject, which is plural, and actually we deal with it as plural. So again, I have a kind of disagreement between the subject and the verb. I need to drop s to make them agree together or to fix it. Okay, so my tip here is that when you find a compound subject, what do I mean by it? I mean a noun plus and plus noun. What do I need to do? I think about my verb. If it comes after, it has to be plural. And also if it comes before, if my verb comes here, before my subject, no problems. It can work. It's not a common structure, but actually it's correct. Also, it will be plural verb too. Okay, so I make sure that it is plural and not singular. Okay, let's move on to another example. Radioactivity is generally not considered harmful when people are exposed to it at low levels for brief periods, but less clear is its long-term effect. Let's forget about the first sentence. I don't need it. Before the comma, I don't need it. What do I need here? I need the sentence. I need to start from the new clause here, but less clear. Less clear is actually here as an adjective. Okay, is an adjective, and I can't have an adjective as a subject. Is the verb, and let's have this. Long term is an adjective again. Effects is a noun, and effects is a plural noun. It is a plural noun, and a plural noun needs a plural verb. This one is singular, so it cannot work. I need to change it into a plural verb, so this will be a correct sentence. Let's have a look at it. But less clear, this is an adjective, followed by the verb are. It's long term. The agreement comes with effects, not with long term, because long term again is an adjective. Okay, very nice. So that is another structure. Okay, there is and there are sentences. You'll find that there is, there was, there have been, all of these are followed by a single noun. So the subject is singular, and actually the subject here comes after there is or there was or whatsoever. There are, there were, there have been, all of these are plural, are followed by plural nouns. Let's have a look at this example in recent months. This is a prepositional phrase. I don't need to read it. I crossed out. There has, so singular verb. Let's have a look at my subject. It will come after the verb. Many questions is plural. Oh, I have a disagreement here. Plural subject. So my verb need to be fixed. So I will not make it has, I'll make it have to be correct. Like this, it will be correct. In recent months, there have been many questions. There have been many questions. This is correct. Okay, so when it comes to there is or there are, search for your subject. There is or there is or there are. Search for your subject right after the verb. Think about it. If it's singular, so your verb has to be singular. But if it's plural, so your verb has to be plural. Very nice. Let's continue. Neither nor. Let's think about it. Neither singular noun nor singular noun, the verb needs to be singular. So if I have here neither followed by two singular nouns connected by nor. Here singular noun and here singular noun. Okay, so my verb will be singular. But if I hear, because of nor here, here neither nor here, as long as both of them are singular, this is not and, because neither takes nor, it's not and. Like when we talked about the compound subject, because it has and, it has to be plural, but here neither, here we have nor. So as long as the two nouns are singular, the verb has to be singular. But suppose that you're talking about neither, and I found that we have two subjects. Okay, like here, a singular noun, and then here I found nor and a plural noun. Which one should my verb follow? In such case, the verb follows the noun comes after more. So the verb here, the verb will follow its closest noun, the noun that is close to it. Okay, so think about it, that the verb here will follow the verb that is close to it, that is near to it. Okay, so if the noun here, the plural noun after nor is plural, the verb will be plural. So in such case, my verb will be plural. Okay, like when I say neither the senator nor his aide are is wrong, because singular, the verb has to be singular, like here. But if I tell you neither my cousin nor his friends speak. Why is it here plural? Because it follows in such case its closest noun. The closest noun to it is plural. So the verb has to be plural. Speak Japanese. Okay? So if I find neither, let's make it easier. When you find neither, your verb follows its closest noun, the noun that is close to it. Collective nouns. Actually, they are important. When you see in SET a collective noun, so, okay, you need to, collective noun, so you need to deal with it as a singular noun. Well, what are collective nouns? When I say agency, institution, school, committee, jury, city, country, class, university, team, it's only one word talking about one group, but this word has a lot of people inside. It has a group of people inside. In SET, we deal with collective nouns as being singular. Okay, so in SET, we deal with collective nouns. These words are treated as a singular noun. Okay, oh, it's okay. Yeah, we can say the team is. That is in SET. If you find this R, you need to correct it. Okay. You can tell me in other contexts you can find the team R, and actually in some cases, but it's not in SET. The team R is correct, but here, if we talk about SET, so it has to be treated as a singular noun. The agency was, okay? The class has been, you see? So all my verbs here are actually singular like this with collective nouns. Let's have a look at this example. After many days of deliberation, the jury have finally returned with a verdict. Here the jury is actually, yes, a collective noun. This is collective noun, okay? But we deal with it as a singular noun. Let's have a look at the verb have here. It's plural, so there is a disagreement. We need to fix it. So the jury has here as singular. So here as a collective noun, it has to be followed by a singular verb. Okay, very nice. Let's come at this a number of. If I tell you a number of people Okay, a number of people, as long as it's so the verb has to be plural. We're gathering. We're gathering. Blah, blah, blah. But if I say the number of people is small, the here is singular because you're actually talking about the number itself, like 60, 50, 40. But here, a number of people, you mean here by this a crowd or a group of people, like, you see? So here, a number of people has to be followed by a plural noun, a plural verb. So its verb has to be plural because it is dealt with as plural. But the number, because you're actually referring to the number itself, like 50, 40, 30, whatever as a number, in such case, you talk about it in a singular way. Very nice. Here, let's have a look. Here, a number of people are expected to attend so it's plural, like a group of people. Here it means like a group of people. The number of people was quite large. I'm talking about the number itself as a number 17, 18. You see? That's why we talk about it in a singular way. The number. Okay. Each and every. Each and every are dealt with as singular, even if it is followed by a plural noun like this. So the agreement follows each and follows every. My agreement doesn't follow this noun but comes after. I don't have a look at it. I don't look at it even. I look only at every and each. These are the things that make me determine it has to be a singular verb. Why? Because they are actually dealt with as singular, each and every. Even if he puts for you here of the students, which is plural, even if you have here every one of the students is plural too. You see, my verb has to be singular. Like if I say each of the students in Mrs. Cheng's class is, this is correct. But if you say each of the students in Miss Cheng's class are, this is wrong. Here again, the verb is wrong because every means is singular, so it has to be is. Okay, here, if I have a subject which is a gerund, like here, what's a gerund? A verb that takes ing and makes us a noun. So this is a gerund. A gerund here is followed by a singular verb, a singular, because it's actually singular. So gerund in English is singular. So it makes me a singular subject, and this singular subject is followed by a singular verb. Or here will be wrong, and is here will be correct because going is a gerund, and gerunds are followed by singular verbs. Okay, so these are some rules you need to put into consideration. You can just write down these annotations to make sure that you have your notes written in front of you. Here, let's have a look at some examples. I have here the process of living. The process of living vicariously through a fictional character in order to purge one's emotions are known as catharsis. Let's have a look at my subject here. My subject, okay, let's change the color and choose another color. The pen, okay, and I need to change the color. Okay, where? Pointer options, in color. Let's make it yellow. Okay, so let's have a look at my subject here. What is my subject here? What am I talking about? I need to ask myself a question. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? I'm talking about, in this sentence, the process. So what about it? Is it a singular subject or a plural subject? Actually, it is singular. So let's have a look at my verb of living vigorously through a fictional character in order to correspond emotions, all of these blah blah blah. I don't need. Here is my verb. Let's have a look here at the verb are. What do you think about it? Is it singular or plural? Actually, it is a plural verb. So your first question gonna be, how come that my verb is plural and my subject is singular? There is a disagreement between both of them. Here we do have a disagreement. What do we need to do here? We need to fix our verb and make it singular. So I make it a singular verb. So I make it is. So that's how I fix it. I'll make it is. Okay? Let's have a look at another example. Number 2, along the border between China and Tibet. Here, let's have a look at this. I start my sentence with a preposition. So this is a prepositional phrase. And remember our tip about it. When I have a prepositional phrase, what do I need to do? I need to cross it out, eliminate it. Along the border between China and Tibet. Here I'll need to cross it out. I don't think about it. So my structure gonna be as follows. I start with prepositional phrase, okay, and here I find a verb. So where is my subject? Where is my subject here? Where is the subject? The subject will come after the verb. That will determine my agreement. So here, lies is the verb, and actually it has s, so it's singular. And here, the Himalayas mountains. Mountains is my subject. So mountains is my subject, and actually it is plural. So I need to fix my verb. My verb needs to follow its subject. How can it follow the subject? It needs to be plural too. So I need to cross out letter S. So its correction gonna be by dropping the S. So it's gonna be lie the Himalayas now. Okay? Okay, let's move on. Number 3, recognized for formulating unorthodox social theories. All of this, okay, I don't need. Okay, it's just a phrase. Cross it out. Okay, who am I talking about? Lev Gumlev and the Asmersky was. Let's have a look at the subject. Lev whatsoever and Mersky, and I have and. So actually I have a compound subject. How could I identify it? I found a noun and a noun, proper noun, and a proper noun. Actually, this is a compound subject. Compound subject is treated as plural. So it has to be followed by a plural verb. Let's have a look at my verb here. Was. Oh, that's a big problem. Why? Because we cannot have a singular verb with a compound subject. So we cross it out and make it here. This is the correction. Now it's plural and it agrees with its subject. Move on. The works of artist Alan Chen draws inspiration from both the California Gold Rush and the construction of transcontinental railroad. Okay, so what am I talking about? I'm talking about the works. I don't need to know the rest of it because it's actually here. This is just a kind of a prepositional phrase to tell me which works, okay, I'm talking about. So here works is a subject and actually it is a plural one, plural subject. My plural subject here, I have a verb here, draws. Actually, I find it singular, so they don't agree together. How should I make them agree? I cross out the S and make it plural verb so it becomes draw. So the works of whatsoever draw without s. That is its correction. Let's come to number 5. The maps of historian and cartographer John Speed. What am I talking about here? I'm talking about the maps. Blah blah blah, all of this I don't need. Okay, let's come to the verb depict. So my verb is depict. So what about it? The maps here is plural and the verb is plural. So do I have any problem in the sentence? No, it's actually correct. Let's have a look at the rest of the sentence. Some of the first visual representations of blah 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 throughout England, Ireland, and Scotland, blah blah blah. Nothing in it. So all of it is correct. Okay, let's move on. Number 6. Fly boating, a discipline. Find a comma and a positive. Okay, in which will all of this players until the comma here. All of this is a non-essential clause. I don't need it, so I cross it out. So in order I to find my verb, okay, that is separated by this phrase, I don't need it. So play boating. Play boating is my subject, okay, and involve, and actually it's singular. Involve is my verb, and actually here it's plural. Let's think about it. Think about it. Here is singular and the verb is plural, so I need to fix it. Fix my verb. How can I fix to make it singular? So I add s. So here the sentence will be like play voting involves. This is the correction. Okay, let's move on. Often found in plastic drinking bottles is in substantial amount. Often here, okay, is an adverb. Found a verb in plastic. That's a phrase I don't need. Is I found a verb, so I need to have a pause here. I stop. Is substantial amounts. What am I talking about here? I'm talking about amounts of a potentially toxic chemical called whatsoever. This, okay, I don't need. All this is a kind of a prepositional phrase to describe the amounts here. I don't need it. So my subject here is amounts, and it is plural subject, and my verb here is, and actually it is singular verb. Here we find a disagreement. We don't agree together. How can I fix it? I need to fix my verb and make it plural. So I'll change it into an R. Verb R. Yeah. So the sentence will be like this. Are substantial amounts, substantial amounts of blah blah blah. Okay, let's move on. Number 8, the African violet. That's my subject. African is an adjective I don't need. I need violet here. It's the subject, singular. I find a comma, so so it's a relative clause, which is a non-essential. I move until I find the second comma. I cross it out. I don't need even to read it. I don't need it at all. Like this. Let's find my verb. It will be right after the comma, which is belong. So let's just analyze it. Here, violet is my subject, and it is singular. Okay, and here, belong is my verb, and actually it is plural. What do I need here? I find a disagreement, which means I need to fix my verb. How can I do it? Change this singular into this plural into a singular verb. So I make it belongs. I add letter S to the verb. So now, by now, it is singular and my subject is singular. They agree together. There is a disagreement in this way. So my sentence will be like, the African violet belongs with S to blah blah blah. We don't need the rest. Okay? Let's move on to number 9. Among the finds. Finds here means the results. Okay? Among is a preposition. Among is a preposition. So I have here a prepositional phrase. Among the finds from a recent archaeological dig in London, all of this is a prepositional phrase. I need to stop, slow, cross it down. Here I find my verb, so the structure goes like this. A prepositional phrase plus verb plus a noun or a subject. My subject here. Okay, so what should I do here? I need to think about my verb, which is was. My verb here is was, and my subject will come after the verb. Let's think about this agreement, which is earn we're not. This is my subject. Not is plural, and the verb is singular. Actually, they disagree together. What do I do to stop this fight between the verb and the subject? I need to fix my verb and make it plural, like it will be we're. Okay, so the correction will be among the finds from a recent archaeological dig in London, we're urban we're not. Like this, it is correct. Okay, let's move on. Number 10. One of the animal kingdom's best jumpers in the flea is the flea. What is my subject here? My subject is one. So my subject here, let's analyze it together, is one. That's my subject. Oh, blah, 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 blah. I found a verb, so I need to stop here. This is a prepositional phrase. I don't need it at all. Kind of a phrase that they put here just to make me forget about my subject and its agreement. Prepositional phrase. My verb here is. So the verb here is. Let's think about the agreement here. When I say one is, so one is singular and is singular too. So we do agree together. They agree, or we can find here an agreement between the subject and its verb. Okay? Okay. So the sentence is correct. We don't need to correct anything. Just if you want to have a look at the rest of it to make sure, here you find the comma, whose relative clause, so it's non-essential, leap up to blah blah blah. Okay, its on body length is nearly unsurpassed. And here the verb is singular, so it's all of it is singular, so all of it is there is a kind of an agreement. Okay, so this sentence is correct. It doesn't need any correction. By now we reached the end of our session. I hope that you find it beneficial. I hope that you liked the session. Please, if you didn't subscribe to my Telegram channel, SET ACT EST American Diploma, just subscribe right away, or just subscribe on my Facebook page, English in Brief. And there is also a YouTube channel which It's called English in Brief. You can just subscribe so you can find any new videos uploaded to you. If you have any questions, you can just drop them for me in the comments so I can just discuss with you if or I just add any kind of help you need. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that you liked it and see you in another session with God's willing.